Hello, welcome to. Oh, I'm so tired. The Honest Wargamer. I'm your host, Rob, and I'm joined by Mr. Owen Jackson, and we're going to do some deep dives into some LVO stats. Is that right?
Sort of, yeah. I think we've got numbers, and they relate to lots of different armies, and I think that might spark some conversations. And we like Warhammer, so let's look at that and see what see what we can learn, right?
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so the LVO is happening this weekend. Some pretty big news is Age of Sigmar 3.1, which is the version of Age of Sigmar since the FAQ at Winter. Ogres still don't have 2-inch reach. Like the FAQ that they did, right? And then we're now in 3.1, or really 3.0, but just the same, really. But we've changed it around a little bit just for clarity. So 3.1, which is cool. And then the Las Vegas Open is about to happen in literally hours from when me and Owen are recording. But there are over 200, or there might be around 200 attendees, right? And this is pretty important because this is a good insight into what the kind of meta may look like for the next 6 months until we get, obviously, chapter approved, not chapter approved, General's Handbook. So pretty good. And stuff like this, I mean, do you find events, coverage like this and events like this, like a good indicator of what do you look for? What kind of takes your fancy from these things?
I'm looking, it's basically a big event like this is a proper snapshot, and it's going to show us how badly GW have screwed up, really, in terms of, no, that's a joke. In terms of the power of books, trends, seeing new books coming in, and how they're going to settle, and also just, when we pick armies, we're kind of people are driven by different things in terms of going for something really powerful, going for a fun idea, just playing the models that they want to play, with nearly 200. I think we've settled on about 189 players, Rob.
Okay. All right. So fairly big, but definitely the biggest Age of Sigmar 3 event so far, but not the biggest Age of Sigmar event we've had. That's still CanCons have got that in the bag so far.
Yeah. And there's the whole thing around New Year, new army. That's very much a sort of trope in the community, isn't it? In terms of people have had Christmas, they've maybe got a load of new models, had a bit of time off work, so we're going to see the fruits of people's labor, much like I think post-lockdown, we saw a lot of Gargants, didn't we? Because that's what people have been working on.
An LRL.
Yeah, an LRL. Yeah, exactly. And now, we've got the new Maggotkin book. We've got Ironjaw's Auric War Clans, Stormcast. People have had time to play those lists, maybe play a couple of one-dayers. And I think this is you see people are flying from North America, all over North America, Canada. This is going to be a really good snapshot of the US meta. And yeah, it'll probably be something that Games Workshop will have their eye on as well, in terms of looking to balance, because if we're going to get out. Don't laugh. What was funny about that? I thought that was a perfectly normal statement.
Yeah, all right, man. Sure. All right, cool.
They're always watching. You know that, right? They're not just.
That is true. I do know that they're always watching. What up, Games Workshop intern? Thanks for listening. I do know that they watch religiously. Yeah, so so great to have you here.
You want for a pay rise?
Intern, you need to get paid more. Get more money. I love how we're on the intern. I like how it's turned over time for him being a mole, and now we're on his side. Yeah, or their side. Sorry. Yeah, okay. Sorry, what were you saying, Owen?
Just saying, it's a really good opportunity for us to actually see. There's quite a lot of hyperbole around the hobby, and this is broken, that's broken. This is filth. Blah 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 blah. So. It'll be good to see that in action, right? Because robots don't play the game. The War Scrolls don't just play each other. Humans play each other. So let's see humans putting these armies on the table, and what wins. I'm excited. There's a lot. Every single army is represented, Rob, and I think that's really good.
Wow.
A good thing about is every single. I say that every single army is represented, but one little stat that came out is there's not one single keeper of secrets at the event, Rob.
Oh, really? Not one keeper
Yeah.
of secrets?
How that sexy, massive goat man woman has fallen from grace, right?
Well,
Isn't
I
that-
mean, maybe they're at home keeping a real secret. Who knows? Like, I'm not surprised. The win rate for Slaanesh is pretty low. They play really badly into the top end armies. They also play really badly into the middle armies, and they mainly do okay into the bottom armies. So, like, that's not really a selling point.
A Slaanesh hero does well into the bottom. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, I'm not saying that, if that's of interest.
My work is done. Rob, I'll see you soon, mate. Take it easy.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not surprised really, because like we haven't really seen any actual builds from anyone, like, and the numbers on them are terrible, so like that's fine. And if you guys do want to go look at the stats, they're on thehonestwargamer.com. There will be some 3.1 stats, I think, probably post LVO, but that's whether or not Rob and the gang are close to doing it. And we've actually got some very exciting stats news in the next week or so as well, but more on that on another show. Sorry, Owen. Now, this is also an 8-round event, which is pretty important.
Yeah, like that's a proper endurance. Are they? So 2 caveats. I haven't seen the pack, so I don't know. But one thing that's good, I think, about the 8 rounds, Rob, is that the whole argument about knowing missions in advance and stuff like that. With eight missions, you're going to have to play quite a balanced army, or you're going to have to be able to compete on all 8, because there's really 10 good missions.
Yep.
So 8 rounds is a proper endurance test, and I think that when you get to those later rounds, then the generals who can fight through the fatigue and still make good decisions when their brain's a bit frazzled is I think it's a good test of generalship. The only thing I would say is that perhaps with 8 games, if you're playing a very simple army which has a small amount of components, you're going to be a lot less drained playing perhaps a net list Stormcast list rather than a Legion of the First Prince army with 150 models or something. Do you know what I mean? So perhaps the simplicity of the play will have a factor in who wins. I don't know. Maybe I'm talking bollocks.
No. Like, it's just, I mean, it works in competitive chess. There's a bunch of examples, like being able to like have a lower mental drain in a competitive setting is super important. We see this in this isn't the 70s where you can have a beer, smoke a fag, and kick a football around and win the World Cup. Yeah, like sports science and also sports psychology has moved on pretty significantly in the past 50 years. And it's really, really valuable input, I think. So I agree with you. Especially some of the contenders, right? I don't know about you. I'm pretty set on a Seraphon win. If I was to put everyone of equal skill in a room, I feel Seraphon have the win, but that doesn't. I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that much of a foregone conclusion. We don't have the Art of War style players in the Age of Sigmar community yet.
No. I think that the tip of the competitive AOS spear isn't as sharp as 40k because we're just not playing as many games and there aren't as many players. So yeah. But yeah, it's an interesting field. As I say, every single army is represented in some form, and there's some interesting lists in there. There's a lot of, the meta feels quite settled in terms of list writing, even now with the new books. Like there seems to be a couple of builds that come out of each book, and that's borne out in the representation when we have a look at it. Because I've got sub-faction representation as well as actual army representation. So hopefully, we'll be able to see, see what people are taking and maybe make some predictions on what we think is going to win, Rob.
Okay, well, and this is also, this is our first indication of what the meta might look like in the new edition. This version, yes, Sun Tzuza. And also, there's no live coverage this weekend, but a little bit of a shout out to anyone that might be tuning in live and is in Las Vegas or knows someone's in Las Vegas. If someone is willing to Skype call me and live stream the table, i.e. just hold your phone in front of the stream, I'll commentate that game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So like for the final,
for the community, right? For the community.
Yeah.
Gotta do it.
Yeah. So for that final, if someone does it, I'll live stream. I'll live commentate that game. So let me know. Yeah. If someone can Skype call me in, I should tweet that out later. But that would be good, right, Owen?
Yeah. Subject to the time and fitting in with my the rhythm of my life out here. I'll co-commentate with you if somebody does that.
All right, deal. Let's do it. We'll do it. We'll try and get some.
Screen. There you go.
But no, we can't because no one's streaming the Age of Sigmar stuff. It's just completely going to be left to its own devices. No one's streaming the Age of Sigmar stuff. So, okay, all right, Owen. What? Talk to me about the stats. What's been going on?
So you've got my document there, I presume.
Yes, it's right. It's on the screen right now.
Sweet. So, yes. Now, what I've done is I haven't been able to pick out all the people that haven't necessarily signed in. I haven't included people that have dropped. So this should be a pretty bang-on representation. But just, we might be a digit ill here. This is my caveat. We might be a tiny bit out here or there. Okay. Also, I'm a human, not a robot. But going through the Grand Alliances, we have got, let's do this actually. Let me just do some live maths. Bear with me, peeps.
No problem. Thanks to Owen for doing this. This is pretty fantastic.
So Order have the most, unsurprisingly, Order have the most armies in the tournament. Let me just see how many in total. We've got 83 Order armies.
Wow. So 83 out of 100, out of 190.
Yeah, effectively. Yeah, okay. So almost, 45%, something like that. 34 Chaos armies. And then I can probably count the Death armies on one hand. That's 8, 11, 22 Death armies and 20, 34, 40, 42 Destruction. So as per our conversations over the last year or so, Order and Chaos tend to have, the majority of the lion's share of the meta, and then Death and Destruction. Destruction gone up a bit, I think. People like Ogres, Ironjaws, and Sons of Behemoth. And I think Nagash getting a bit of a kick in the balls at Christmas means that perhaps Death has come down a little bit.
That's true, but you are going to be able to shoot at least 18 inches with some ghosts now, so I don't know if I can interest you.
Absolutely not. Mortis engines. Although I did hear a theory, I haven't really caught up on any of that stuff. You mentalist, what time did you get up this morning? 5 o'clock in the morning? Or
I got up at 4:45 this morning.
Christ.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a problem, right?
Anything for the Twitch chat. Anything for the
and the memes. I'm not sure. There are 4 Nighthaunt armies here. I'm not sure if what were you calling them? There was a cute name for the little ghosts with the crossbows. Crossbows. I'm not sure if Crossbows is gonna pick those numbers up. But yeah, if I give you a little headline, then effectively the most popular Chaos army is Nurgle. So we've got 10 Maggotkin of Nurgle armies, as opposed to 5 Tzeentch, 2 Khorne, 2 Slaanesh, 5 Beasts of Chaos. People love putting those Beasts of Chaos on the table, don't they? Like, come rain or shine. Be goating.
Yeah. Yeah, they love it. They love it. Like, it's one of the really interesting things about the stats or overall. I expect to see the Stormcast Eternals win rate not go much past like 52%, I guess. Over maybe the course of the next 6 months. But that's because there's going to be a lot of people playing stuff narratively. One of the things that I always think is really interesting, Owen, and I wonder about this, because you in the UK, I was looking, I got sent some player stats recently, in the UK have done phenomenally well with OBR, but generally you versus the baseline OBR, you're way above that standard. Yeah, you're doing excellently, right? Which is really important. But when you do look at stats, for different armies, you have to understand that the Gits players or the Beast of Chaos players who are playing with Beast of Chaos are literally probably the best players with that army in the world.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? Like, they might not be the best players in the world, but when you do look at Git stats being what they are, or BC Chaos stats being what they are, or even like something like Sylvaneth, you know, if you look at Sylvaneth under Mathmallow's hands, for instance, Mathmallow was able to take Sylvaneth to be like a 3-2-4-1 army, which kind of puts them nearer 50% rather than the 42% that they were rocking around at. But like, so when you're looking at the stats, you're looking at like the best version of those stats, not what the average person can do with those stats, which I think is really telling in a lot of ways. So when we're talking about the armies being bad, they're really bad.
Yeah, like dog shit bad.
Like if anyone else picked up that army, like, what is this crap in my hands? Like, clapping it together.
But people like the challenge, right?
Yeah.
Some people, like the challenge of, pushing for a 4-1 or a 3-2 with a very, very, bad faction. Because every army has some amount of play. And I think skill has a massive bearing on how you do at a 5-round tournament. Yeah, I'm rambling. Right, next one. Should we talk about order? Well, we've got an overall big pie showing the overall meta.
Okay.
But order, we've got 23 Stormcast armies.
Okay. Production meta in full effect. 23 Stormcast Eternals. Okay. Have we got a breakdown of what that looks like? Are they all Hammers of Sigmar?
There are, let me do it quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 hammers. So 50% are hammers.
That's pretty good.
We've got some Tempest Lords, Knights Excelsior, Hallowed Knights, Astral Templars. Yes, there's a couple of each of the others, but that hammers 6-up save is really rather nice. And I think hammers make Dracothian Guard Fulminators battle line, don't they? So I think that's why you often see them coming in. So hammers is the top pick. People love their Hammers of Sigmar. Obviously, it's because they painted them as hammers, right, Rob? And they wouldn't be able to get into the event without them, being the correct colours. Is that right?
I think, Owen, it's to do with the 6-up ward near, and also the Dracothian, the Fulminators being battle line. I think it might be those two things. Like, but I don't want to call you a liar, so I'll just say probably what you said. All right, my friend?
I don't know who you just turned into, but yes.
It was like a mixture. Correct. It was like a mixture of different people. I don't know who it was, but like them folk.
Sounds like you've got a sweet stuck in your mouth, or something stuck in your mouth. Anyway, next most popular were Seraphon with 12 armies. Again, a lot of Thunder Lizard, as we've talked about a lot on the show. Coalesced, -1 damage. I think there's one Dracothian's Tail, and I think 2 Fangs of Sotek and a Kotal's Claw, and then everybody else is Thunder Lizard. And then we have 9 Daughters of Cain, 9 Lumineth Realm Lords, and then some cities, KO, Ideneth, all the way down to 5 Fire Slayers and 5 Sylvaneth. So, 84 out of the 189 are order. I think order is always the most popular, isn't it?
I'm quite surprised. I'm quite surprised by DOK. Like, what is it? 5% of the meta that pretty much runs with like global numbers. So like that kind of makes sense. But they're such a strong, dominant army. We know they've been in like the top 6, or like the if you go on the Honest Wargamer stats site, you'll see. And I still think that they've got a great opportunity to take out an event. I really do. They can screen quite nicely. I guess Dragonfire is an issue for them. But like, and maybe they lose the shooting war versus long strikes. But they feel like a really solid army. Like, they really do.
Yeah. I think I've watched a couple of Daughters games against Stormcast recently, and if you can clear the screens out of the way, like if you can clear the Vindictors and get in, I have actually seen Marathi having access to the full spell lore actually coming in quite clutch recently.
Really?
Yeah. Like, do you know what Pit of Shades does?
Is it half move?
It's basically like a death unit's mortal wound scream. You know, you roll 2d6 against bravery and the different mortals, but it's against move characteristic. So into like a 5-inch move Bastiladon or 5-inch move, those low movement stat battle line Stormcast, it actually does decent work.
That's
Obviously,
fantastic.
Yeah, it's cool. So I've seen Marathi in the hero phase on her own. She cleared 5 Vin Diesels on her own just by going Black Power Volgo for D6 mortals, Pit of Shades for mortals, and then a hero phase shooting. And then I'm surprised there's less Calibron, because I really like Calibron with the -1 to hit in all the shooting. And you have a -1 to hit in melee as an artifact. And then you can deliver your snakes anywhere. So, you know, getting to the long strikes is a problem. And I think that Daughters have the tools. Yeah, they are inherently outranged, though. You're right. But I think 15 bow snakes is 30 wounds with a 6-up ward. So you're going to be able to I don't think they're going to get through all of that in one go. So you're going to be able to rally it back. But yeah, so some Daughters. And then there are 6 Ideneth lists, and they're all Fwaythan. Having played Fwaythan this week, that is, you know, obviously they've got a new book on the horizon, we think, but Fwaythan is the IDK build. You know, lots of sharks and everybody fighting first on the second round on the second battle round is pretty fucking strong. So yeah,
very strong. Still very strong. Still very strong. LRL also sat in there at 9, equal to DOK. And I mean, the Boogeyman, yeah, the list went up 60 points. But I feel like they had wiggle room in their list for that to happen, right? The competitive builds, both the Techlian version of that and also the Fox version of that. I feel like the Fox version's slightly not as good because of smashing and bashing and either Bloodtooth's or Iron Tooth's traits from Iron Jaws, specifically being not smashing and bashing, sorry, Mighty Destroyers being an issue. So I feel like either of those two armies are actually quite good. Sorry, that the reason we might not see the Fox build as much is because of that, and also obviously the dragons. So, but they're still just as effective. It's just the meta is that they're in is changed, right? Yeah.
And there's quite a variance. We're going to come later to. I've got some stats on the sharpshooters of the mortal realms.
Oh, nice. Bam, bam.
There are 9. There are 9 Lumineth lists, and there are 230 Sentinels at the event.
What's 9 times 30? 270. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're down 40 somewhere.
Yeah. So I don't think that what was it? Did they
20
get
points 20 points per 10 were added.
Yeah. Revolutionary.
completely changed how the army played.
yeah, definitely. So no, they haven't taken your advice, Rob. There's a lot of that book that's not getting looked at.
Not at all. Yeah, so Silverlight, both a love of yours and mine, probably don't have much of a look in, truthfully. No. So I'm sure there
are 5 Silverlight lists. There's 3 Null Roots, 1 Winterleaf, and 1 Harvest Boon.
Okay.
Yeah, I just think the bomb, the Warsong Revenant bomb is super cool, but when dragons are rocking around with a 4-up spell ignore, you know, it is, yeah. I know we shouldn't always be talking about dragons, but they are going to be what you need to beat if you want to win a tournament. You're going to need to play against some form of Stormcast. So, yeah, unfortunately, I don't think Sylvaneth have got the tools at the moment.
I would agree with that.
One thing, going back to Lumineth, nice spread. We've got Helon, Syar, Elithia, and Zytrek all represented. So, you know, a nice spread of sub-factions there in comparison to IDK just literally having 1. And Daughters, 7 of the 9 are Hagnar. You know, so some books are very settled, aren't they, Rob? Whereas others have a little bit more
wiggle room.
Yeah,
I'm really hoping that Derek Erlenbush, who's running the Helon LRL, I'm super hopeful that he is running some wind chargers, because I still think they've got loads of play. I just don't think maybe they're not as top end, but I think it would be fun to see that. Very much like it would be fun to see the Barrack Ziflin lists for the KO again. I don't really give them the opportunity. I don't give them the chance to take out the event. I think it's very unlikely, but it's nice that they're there, right?
Yeah, and I think he may even be the captain, but Jeremy Vessier, who we've talked about before, yeah, he's taken his Barrack Zilfin, so maybe get a good result out of KO, because obviously, good players put results on the board, not just armies. But yeah, there's 4 Barrack Zilfin, a Barrack Nar, and a Barrack Thring. I think we need to give a shout out actually to Cap and Andrew at this point, Rob, who's provided us with a fair amount of this information. So thanks to Cap and Andrew if he's there. So yeah, that kind of wraps up. There's some Fire Slayers, 4 Hermdar and a Vostarg.
But really, a takeaway is how many of the Seraphon are Thunder Lizard?
There are 1, 2, 3. There are 3 that aren't. So there are 9 Thunder Lizard armies, Rob.
Okay. All right. Okay. Which is by the way, Thunder Lizard Seraphon topped out as the winners of Age of Sigmar 3.0. So with little to no changes. I mean, Salamander's got a point uptick, so they did get Salamanders as a point uptick. I don't know if Mike Stewart, who's still in the chat, who did so well over here in the UK with those Thunder Lizard, he's got a crazy win rate with that army, like a real hot streak. They're very, very good. They're very, very good over and we'll see. Okay, interesting from order. I mean, I know we're going to come back to some unit stats in a minute, right?
Yes, we are. Yeah, we're going to come back because again, Cap and Andrew helpfully picked out some headlines from the units. Moving on to death, only, as I say, what's that? 4, 8, 11, 22 death armies, 50% of which are Soulblight Gravelords. So yeah, we've got 11 Soulblight armies, and again, a nice mix. As we always see, Vikros is the prevalent one that people like. There's no Avangori, but we've got a Legion of Night, 2 Legion of Blood, and a Castellai. But there's not a single Nagash in those Soulblight lists, if I'm correct. In fact, there's only 1 Nagash at the whole event. But we'll come back to that later.
Really? Oh, is this you saying you think he's been nerfed too hard?
Well, I'm probably biased, but yes.
Okay.
So yeah, we've got the 11 Soulblight, we've got 4 Flesh Eater Courts, 3 OBR, all of them Petrifex, and then 4 Nighthaunt, 2 of each of the new Broken Realms sub-factions. So 2 Reikenors Condemned and 2 Emerald Host.
Okay.
Yeah, so not a huge amount of death. The event, unfortunately.
If you're asking my opinion, I don't think it's likely that any of the death lists see the top 8. But it'll be interesting to see. I would say the Gravelords armies are very playable, but when you're going into the sort of meta that it looks like, can they play well into Ironjaws? Can they play well into Stormcast? I think it's unlikely. I really do. And they also play into Lumineth badly, which is 9 armies are there. They also, I don't think, play well into Marathian the Bowsnakes, which is another 9 armies. So it's some pretty hard counters. If you're playing these guys, you're I really wish I could avoid those shooting matchups. And there's a lot of them at this event.
Yeah. I think they can put a lot of chaff on the board. Tends to be the way with, quite a few death armies. You can put a lot of chain rasps on the board, but unfortunately the output is so high now. Maybe only if you're putting hundreds and hundreds of zombies on the board, but they shooting can pick off the key pieces. Magic Doms can shut down the synergy. I think they've got play. I think Soulblight probably is still the strongest death faction at the moment.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's I I think maybe going 4-1 with Soulblight at LVO will be or not 4-1, but what the equivalent of that would be, whatever that
Well,
is.
no, you're right, because effectively it's really a 5-0 tournament and then a top 8 tournament.
But I think going 4-1, if any of the Soulblight players, if any of the Death players go 4-1, they can walk out, with with their heads held high, because it's quite tough for Death at the moment, I think, personally.
Yeah, I agree, because they can't shoot. But don't worry about it, Owen. You're about to get some shooting Nighthorn. Pow, pow, pow.
Yeah, it's going to be 16-inch range, Rob, isn't it? Come on. Those crossbows. It's a crossbow. When have we known a crossbow?
It's a unit of 5, though. Unit of 5 normally means more elite. 2 wounds, 2 shots, 3s and 3s, rend 1. 18 inches, normally.
And then the bloody Spirit Torment's going to have a command ability to let them shoot twice in the hero phase,
Now
right?
you're getting it. Reinforce those bad boys. Yeah? Get yourself 30 on the board. We're going to be playing Warhammer. All right, okay. Death, looking. What about our poster boys, Destruction, Craig Bros, and the like?
Pretty good. There are 20, 34, 40, 42 Destruction armies.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah. 11 more tribes, 9 Sons of Behemoth, 6 Kruleboyz, a single hero with Bone Splitters, and a single Big War, and then 14 Ironjaws. So, yeah.
Ironjaw's the most popular. No, Stormcast, isn't it, with 23? Yeah.
Stormcast, and then Ironjaws, and then Seraphon, and then Nurgle. That's the. So.
Is new Nurgle book in play? Interesting.
Good question.
I think it is. Yeah.
So yeah, when we break that down, 14 Ironjaws armies, 11 Bloodtooths. So they are the build, right?
Yeah, more crushers and pigs, baby. More crushers and pigs.
Yeah. Great fun, fast, punchy. You've got crazy movement. Them being able to do multiple +1 to hits, multiple redeploys, crazy strong. So, and a lot of people have already got that army, right? It's not like there's loads of new units come out. There's no production meta on that.
No.
It's just, Destruction players tend to be quite, loyal to their alliance, don't they? So they bounce around between your Sons of Behemoth and your Ogres and Ironjaws. And I think Ironjaws is probably the most competitive of all of the Destruction factions at the moment.
Yeah.
So that's what we're seeing. The Kruleboyz, there's 3 Grinning Blades and 3 Big Yellows.
3 Grinning Blades? What?
That was my reaction, to be honest with you.
All right. Just some narrative bros. Just going for some narrative Warhammers. That's fine. You guys don't count. Although they could be Grinning Blades with Cragbro in.
It could be. I can't say I've read every list, but
yeah, Crag Bros. They're Crag Bros. You can spot Crag Bro a mile away, mainly because you can hear them come in. Crag Bro!
Oh, I've made a mistake. Saturn Boy. There doesn't seem to be any Gits. There were Gits. I've written it down here. I just haven't put them in. Sorry, Gits players. There are 5 Gits armies. 3 of which are Glog's Mega Mob. So Trogs seem to be the fave at the moment.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that. It's not like they're not like that. You know how you got up here for thinking and down there for dancing. Like Gits players are just dancing. They're not doing anything else. They're just there. Okay.
I need to put into my little spreadsheet thing there. Does that work? Yeah. There we go. Sweet. There is a cool list actually with 30 Boingrot Bounders and Kragnos. Just 3d6ing, and I think it's got Hoppers as a battle line, maybe. Yeah, that looks like a lot of fun to play. And we'll come on to lists in a bit, but yeah. Ironjaws and Ogres are most popular in Destruction, and I'm not surprised by that at all.
No. Shout out to Captain Andrews in the chat who provided loads of this information. Thank you very much. Yeah. Have you missed the Sylvaneth stats, Math Mallow? No, there are 5 Sylvaneth armies. So I won't worry about that. Yeah, I don't think the Ogres really have got a look in. at the minute. Like, they don't have the output. Their win rate isn't high enough to take out the event over 8 rounds. No chance, in my opinion. Iron Jaws, though. Iron Jaws, like you said, low mental load, and they genuinely could absolutely just walk over stuff. So, and I mean, you've got some pretty good players over there who've been running around. Cody Schultz, I think, like a bunch of the guys from Texas. Like, there's a load of guys and girls, obviously, who have been pushing these miniatures around. So you've got some good opportunity there to win. With I wouldn't say it would be uncommon to see Iron Jaws. How do you feel about Iron Jaws into Dragons or Iron Jaws into Stormcast generally?
It's tough because I don't think they've got enough screens to stop the double move Drake Alpha. Yeah, and they tend to like their artifacts, don't they? So Iron Jaws lists don't tend to be very low drop because, especially if you go double cabbage. So yeah, I don't rate their chances into Stormcast at the moment, to be honest with you.
Okay, so we have had some hot tips, by the way, in the chat. Captain Andrew says that the #1 ITC ranked player is Rolling Squigs.
Okay.
Okay.
So he's not going to be the #1 ITC player for very long then, is he?
That seems mean. Right. Sorry. Correction. #1 ITC Gits player. Sorry, we've got that very confused. Right.
Wow.
Okay, changed it up.
Thought there was a glitch in the system there for a second.
Yeah.
Okay, back on track. Also,
wait, how many? Wait, are you telling me that our ogre lists, absolutely none of them are underguts? Heartbreak.
Yeah, it seems like that Iron Blaster peak has moved on. They've moved on to Thunderbellies, Rob. There's 2 Thunderbellies lists.
No way. This is blowing my mind. I don't know how to emotionally feel about this.
Didn't you play Chris Welfare on TTS and he ran Thunderbellies at you?
Yeah.
Against all your streamers. I remember that.
Yeah. And we were both underwhelmed by our armies. We were like, why are we here?
That's 3 hours of our lives we're never going to get back.
Okay, all right. I mean, destruction. I think it's Iron Jaws all to play for. If Dave Fraser's to be believed, there's that one big washout. kruleboyz absolutely in the bin, no chance. Like they'll get beat by everything. Sons of Behemoth going down to only 9 armies. If you'd asked me 2 months ago, I'd have reckoned we'd have seen Sons of Behemoth. I still think they've got an opportunity to win the event, Owen. I really do.
Oh yeah. I mean, they didn't get bad. They just, we all are sort of, we get taken off in different directions, and maybe standing on objectives for a couple of tournaments got boring for some people. But also perhaps, I think there's still 9 Sons of Behemoth players. They are still crazy strong. It's just that they've got some hard counters in terms of some of the big output armies now. And obviously Amulet of Destiny going away has been a massive, a bit of a kick in the balls for them. So 9 seems kind of, that is reflective of what's been happening in the UK scene. People have been putting them on the shelf a bit and having another, having another challenge. And then we've got the overall meta, if you wanted to have a look, Rob, the next one with some helpful color coordination. Look at that.
Oh, thank you very much. We're going into chaos, right?
This is the whole lot.
Oh, at the bottom. Sorry. The overall meta. Oh yeah, we got one. Oh, thanks, Owen. Let me try and make that so people can see it. That's going to be the main issue. Okay, there you go. Okay, so overall meta. All right, nice. So our biggest slice of this pie.
Yes. So just, the black and greys are chaos. The gold and orange are order. The pinky purples are death, and then the greens are destruction. So you can really see there how order is almost taking up.
Why has Git's got its own colour, Owen?
because they were added at the last minute, and I haven't.
No, but it kind of works. It kind of works for everything. It's kind of like this is destruction, but these are just gits. These are just gits. This is perfect.
Do you want me to change it?
No, I like it. I think it's better that way. I think you did it on purpose. That's all. Yeah.
No, I just forgot to put in a whole sub-faction or a whole faction. So yeah, there we go. I think Stormcast, Seraphon, Ironjaws.
Yeah, they're more Stormcast than the whole Death Grand Alliance.
Oh, that's a good call. 23 versus no, I think there's 24 Death armies overall.
Oh, okay.
Make sure. No, there are. Oh yeah, there's only 20. Now hold on. 4 plus 22. Yeah, there's one more Stormcast army than the whole Death Grand Alliance combined.
Okay, good, solid. All right, excellent. I think
funded, right?
Yeah, I'm not surprised. The poster boys. Like, I mean, it took some Stormcast being released in Age of Sigmar 2.0. For the first year, they were still the most popular army in the game. The second year, they were still the most popular army in the game, and it took until the third year for them to drop off being the most popular army in the game. Like, and that's with a huge kind of like drop. I wouldn't be surprised if we see them maintain this level of popularity for like ages. Right? They'll be very popular.
Yeah. Because I mean, it's a bit of a cliche, but most people have got a Stormcast army of some kind. They're elite, quick to get on the table. Everyone keeps telling me about how lovely the dragon models are, and that's why they want to play them. So yeah, I mean, it's good. It's good that the poster boys are doing well, and the game is so cyclical. Now's their time to shine, right?
It is.
This is their golden sun.
The other interesting thing that we didn't really pick up on is kind of the rise of cities of Sigmar, because they were kind of waning. And then, like, maybe one of the more traditional builds, which was taking a bunch of Iron Drakes, did get a small but basically irrelevant points uptick. But I guess the real indication is, did we know how many of the Cities of Sigmar armies were living city?
Yes, the majority, but there was a little bit of variance. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 living city armies, a Hallowheart, a Phoenicium, a Tempest Eye, and then one that isn't specified, but I could probably go and have a look.
But it's interesting that it's living cities, right? Because it's Stormcast.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, being able to plug those Stormcast dragons, fulminators, long strikes into the cities is incredibly, because they get all the cities buffs. You know, there's not a single Hammerhall army there, Rob, but Hammerhall dragons fighting twice.
Wow.
Pretty strong.
That's amazing.
We used to see Simon Hall used to play with the Prime, didn't he? And
yeah, he did.
It down. There is an argument now that deployment zones aren't as big as they used to be, territories or whatever you call them. So getting that double activation off is harder. But
also now you don't need a hero. You also don't need a hero to do it now, because you used to obviously need to have a hero to do it, but you don't need a hero to do it. Or maybe it's key locked to a hero, actually, as an ability. But if it's a generic command ability, the unit itself can do it, right?
Yeah. I'd have to check, but I think it is just perhaps the unit leader of the Stormdrake Guard could, or the Fulminators could pop it themselves. Now, I don't think Fulminators don't have a unit champ, do they? That's why people like to run Doralia or a little hero to make them. There we go. Thanks, Age of Sigmar. Lock to hero. But anyway, that's an aside. Living City Fulminators and Drake Guard, being able to use that fire and fade command ability and shutting down the opportunity to redeploy or unleash hell because you're, not unleash hell, shutting down the opportunity to redeploy because you're moving in the shooting phase is really, really strong, right?
Very strong, very strong. Yeah. Like I think that there's just a lot of tools, but I mean for Stormcast, which I know we focus on a lot. I actually think that the long strikes are more of an issue, which plugged them which are in the Stormcast mainly. But Fulminators are also fantastic as well. I'm really interested to see those mirror matches, or not mirror matches, those matchups, because there's going to be some Ironjaws versus a lot of Ironjaws versus Stormcast matchups, and I would like to really see how they interact over this weekend. This will give us the most data on those interactions. I would love to know who goes first. I feel like sometimes that's going to be a staring match on who goes first. To change up those, because it might look like Iron Jaws did really well at the end of LVO, but actually they just all ended up going first, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's the one thing though about if people are taking Scions of the Storm, they can keep their important stuff off the table. So even though you've got a fast done Morcrusher who can move 48 inches, if you keep your key pieces off the board and then drop them down, and you've got translocate to move them around, I think that gives Stormcast the edge, perhaps in that matchup.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. Really interesting. All right, what's next? Hero Watch. What's this?
Hero Watch is just having a little look at the headline heroes that you expect to see, and how many of them there are, and it just kind of, I've been percolating on this a little bit, Rob.
Okay, love a percolate.
Are we seeing the beginning of the end of Hero Hammer?
Oh, interesting. I mean, like specifically you're talking about God Hammer, really, right? So you're talking about Nagash. Yeah, Nagash, Archeon, which were so prevalent in the last edition, obviously. I guess. Pardon me, Techlist also, yeah, of course, yeah, Techlist as well. Like I would say so, right? They had a pretty big gutting of their War Scroll. Even if that doesn't, like, it's kind of like we're going to see less Gargantlists, even though I think they're just as effective as they were previously, right? Mm-hmm. People are just going to say, "Oh, I don't want to take them now," and it's like, okay, they're just as good. Just like that LRL list is just as good, but like 20 points or whatever. But I think, yeah, you're right. I think you could be right, because truthfully, like, a lot of them suffer a lot to long strikes. Like, I would say that, like, we talk about Dragonfire all the time and it being quite swingy, but those long strikes are not swingy. Like,
they're Mr. Consistency.
Like, I don't know, because I don't know if you got the opportunity with your Nagash pre-nerf to play against any of the long strikes. Did you see them?
Yes. At Just Play, I played a gentleman, I think his name was Michael, and he was playing hammers, and he had a 1-drop, and he just came fresh off lifting somebody's Archeon on turn 1, and yeah, he took turn 1 and he left Nagash on 2 wounds. And that was with the Petrifex reducing Ren by 1. And he had a prime to do the bomb as well. But there's one monster here, Rob. There's a monster in the room who's brought 12 long strikes.
A player.
All heroes. Yeah, LVO, there's somebody with 12 long strikes.
That's
they obviously
amazing.
Don't like sports boats.
Yeah, that's so good. I love that.
Yeah. Like the long strikes will lift most things. I mean, Matt Goldsborough used to run a 6 and a 3, and he felt that the 3 just tipped the damage over a bit. But yeah, 1-drop, 6 long strikes. You know, Lookout, Kairos, Archeon, Kragnos. I think Kragnos survives because of that sweet 2-up, and now that he's got his 6-up ward. But if you get the drop on Techless and he hasn't got his 5-up bubble up, he's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Croak, you put enough damage in him, and then he's
Croak's
gone.
Definitely gone. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So,
sorry, Owen. What did you just say? He's broke up.
Oh, I'm not sure. I cut out a little bit. You carry on. What are you going to say about Math Mallow saying 6 long strikes, 4 dragons is a whole vibe?
It is a vibe. It's a vibe. Like it's like an 80s Hawaiian shirt, a pair of like shorts, yeah, and just a really cool lemonade on a hot sunny day. That's what it is. It's just a whole vibe. In my opinion,
definitely.
And being
it's a shag pile rug,
yeah,
and a roaring fire, yeah.
Yeah. Whereas being a Gits player is watching that guy sit outside of a bar while you're in the same heat, like doing construction. Yeah. Just working your ass off.
Drinking tepid tap water.
Yeah. With your Boots meal deal. That's what it is. Right, anyway. So top of the leaderboard is Mega Boss and Maw Crusher. I guess this is because probably a lot of these lists I've seen, the most popular version of these lists tends to be double Maw Crusher pigs. Hello?
Sorry, Rob, I've had a bit of laggage there. I think
Sorry.
I'm back. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you, bud. I was just saying that you generally tend to see 2 Maw Crushers in a list as opposed to 1. So it kind of makes it slightly different to like your Kairos or your Archeon or your Kragnos, which are named single 1 characters, right?
Yeah, but the amulet still really helped. Like people used to go double warlord with their double cabbage, so they are a little bit more fragile now. So yeah, I think people are taking 2 because they know they're going to lose 1 to the big output. But historically, I've always thought the one Mega Boss and Maw Crusher was a better list with more pigs and more stuff. But yeah, in 8 rounds, you're right. The Mega Boss and Maw Crusher list, the double cabbage list, is quite stress free. You just do your thing, right? So I can see why they're very popular in that regard.
I love. Go on.
No, go on. You go ahead.
And then Gatebreaker's still in there, still super popular. The old Gatebreaker.
Yeah, Big Drog popping up quite a lot in a few of the death lists. So that mercenary Mega Gargant is very popular. Yeah, it's the best Gargant, right?
Because of the output, right? Because of the damage.
Yeah, the Ren 3/3 damage club just slaps. And also the flat 4 damage Ren 3 boulder throw is nasty as well. So I'm not surprised to see the Gatebreakers there, because if you're going to take a Sons of Behemoth list, I think there's a lot more Gatebreakers and War Stompers. The Kraken Eater, Mr. Football, he's way down now. I think there's only 1 at the event, perhaps, or 2. Yeah, not much.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. And then
sorry,
then 8. Okay. And then you've got the Lord Relictor straight in there, like a new entrant into the Hero Watch kind of like category. The Lord Relictor, who with a 2-up rerollable teleport, making everyone super jelly. Not surprised, really, to see him in there.
Yeah. The Lord Relictor and then the Knight Draconis. So between them, there's 25 entries there. So you tend that sort of shows how those Stormcast lists are being constructed. I think we've got 50% are more dragon heavy, and then the other 50% are a little bit more mixed. A Relictor, 4 Fulminators and 6 Long Strikes. There's a lot of lists that have that as the core. There's several of the dragon spam lists. So yeah, those Stormcast heroes, and then 5 Bastions. So those Stormcast heroes, they do give you an inclination on exactly how those Stormcast lists are constructed. Yeah.
Okay, amazing. And then, of course, that's how those lists are going to play around. Nice to see Gotrek still making it in. 5 Gotreks.
Yes, 5 Gotreks. Let me see. I think I've got some information on where they sat. There's 1 in there with the Seraphon. He's not gone in with the Stormcast. I think primarily you're finding them in Fire Slayers, because narrative.
Yeah, that is narrative.
And then a lot of Marathis. I've got 10 Marathis, but there's only 9. There's only 9 daughters lists, so I think that might be a typo. I think basically every single every single daughters list is Marathi and the Bow Snakes. Unfortunately, that book is pretty stale in terms of what people are taking competitively.
Yeah.
But yeah, lots of Marathis. And then not much Solariel.
I mean, what's interesting is how low Archeon is. So I think you're right. Like the top of the section you were talking about it, Archeon like right down there, like almost none, which I think is pretty wild. Truthfully, Nagash almost none. You'd have flipped this back a month. and then maybe you'd have seen them maybe triple, maybe quadruple in number and representation, I think, truthfully. I mean, even playing into some of the top picks now, like, they maybe would work. I think there are 4 Sylvaneth lists in attendance or something similar.
5.
5. Okay. And then I guess we talk about it a lot, the age of shooting. Like, is there going to be a lot of shooting this weekend, Owen? Like, those Mega Boss and More Crushers have got a shout, but generally no shooting from them. How's the rest of the shooting look?
Well, just to cap out the hero watch thing, I think talking about it, no, it's okay because it leads into the next thing. The hunter has become the hunted, Rob. Those guys, they were ronking around the tables, and there was shooting on the table, obviously, but I think, the gun line is very set, and whilst these numbers that we're going to have a look at, not all of these are equal. Like one Bastillodon isn't equal to one Raptor, but I thought I'd put some numbers on the board, seeing as Cap and Andrew was so kind to provide them. So, 220 Venari Sentinels in 9 Lumineth lists, 120 Bloodstalkers. That's in 9 or 10 Daughters lists, 78 Vanguard Raptors.
That's horrific when you know that they're in 6s. Yeah. What's the math on that? 10. Wait, yeah, that's 13. That's 13 6s out of 24 lists.
23 lists. Yeah.
23 lists. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, pretty rough. You tend not to see them popping up in Living City. Oh, my brother's shouting at me. No, he's shouting at me. What, go for lunch?
We'll be 5 minutes, tell him.
Yeah. I've given him There's this place down the road called the Weigh and Pay. It's like Portuguese food. You go in, you pile as much squid and bacalhau and salad on a plate you want. And you pay by weight. So I'm going to go fill myself up at the Weigh and Pay in a minute.
Tell your brother hi from me. And also, I'm jelly. I want to be out there in Portugal with you. I'm going to go to the local cafe and have myself a soup, is what I'm going to do. So, good. All right. Before that, let's look at something horrible.
I might do an invitational out here, so watch this space.
I'm in.
Got the room for it.
All right, perfect.
That's world exclusive. And then we've got 11 Bastillodons, and that was in 12 Seraphon armies. So you were absolutely right. You said regardless of which subfaction you take, you tend to see a Basti everywhere. Shooty monster, very nice. 21 Salamanders.
Still. Jesus.
Yeah, I know. 100 Iron Drakes. One Mad Lad's taken 60 in one list. Which is pretty, he loves dwarves with guns, obviously. That's pretty baller. And then 63 Bolt Boys.
63 Bolt Boys, yeah, but that's between 3 big yellow lists. Yeah. The Vanguard Raptors needs to be the thing that you look at, right? Like, that thing is wild. Absolutely wild. I don't know why it's not in every list, personally. It's because I think that the other lists are mainly dragons. Because some lists are dragons only, right? And they don't have the raptors. Yes,
exactly.
Yeah.
But whenever there's raptors, Rob, never in 3s. They're not very sort of confident in the mortal realms in a 3. They need to have some more buddies with them. You know what I mean? They're like penguins in the Arctic. They need each other to stay warm in like a little bubble.
Yeah.
So 6, like if you go down the club, in Azir, 6 long strikes, they're always together and they've always got a Lord Relictor there as the sort of like party provider.
The lads.
That's the squad, isn't it? That's the squad.
Yeah.
They get a VIP table or wherever they go, because if you don't give it to them, then they shoot you to death from their house. Anyway, that was a bit of a tangent.
It worked for me, though, if that helps you out.
I've got 4 quick lists, Rob.
Okay.
I don't want to move the conversation on too much for the sake of my stomach, But I've picked out 4 lists and I sent you it. So
Okay. Or do you fancy going through them? I've got it on the screen right now. I'm just going to quickly pop out for a quick toilet break. I'll be 1 second. You can tell me. Gavin's is on the screen already, Owen.
Amazing. Okay. So what I've done, I can't move that, so you're going to have to bear with me. But I've basically looked at a chaos, an order, a destruction, and a death army. I haven't trawled through every single one, and I haven't also I haven't gone microscopically into all the tech. But I just figured that these armies are ones which represent the changes in the meta and the trends. I don't think fashion is just only for the catwalk. I think there's fashions in Warhammer, and I think that this is going to be, a little indication. So this is Gavin Grigar. I hope I haven't got that wrong. So this is the order list that I've picked. So Cities of Sigmar, Living City. His strategy is hold the line, and then his triumph is inspired. So he's got 3 heroes, small heroes here. You often see, a Frostheart Phoenix or a Griffin or maybe a Rune Lord. But this is Doralia Van Denst, a Sorceress with Master of Magic, Arcane Tome, and the -1 to wound spell. And then a Free Guild General on foot. And then we've got 30 crossbowmen, 10 dread spears, 10 crossbowmen, 4 Dracothian Guard Fulminators, and 4 Stormdrake Guard with the Warblade 3-drop. He's got his
both.
Yeah, he's got, and they're both in Hunters as well. So basically, what he's got here is he's got a load of chaff that you can buff up really nicely. The Free Guild General, you can use his command ability to get +1 to hit and wound on the crossbowmen who've got a 24-inch threat range. Basically, he's got a way to get -1 to wound on his dragons. I'd imagine the dragons start on the board, the Fulminators start off the board. He buffs up the dragons, makes them -1 to wound because he's got a re-rollable opportunity on that spell. He's got -1 to hit on the Sorceress's War Scroll, so you can make your opponent -1 to hit, -1 to wound, and then he's got a load of stuff that can either come on the board edge or start on the board, clear all the screens, and then the Dracothian Guard Fulminators and the Stormdrake Guard just eat all the meat. And I
think Gavin's also one of the Texas lads. I think Gavin Gregar. I think I might even be with one of the Weird Knobs boys. I've definitely seen his name do well at event results before. This is an amazing list. And also terrifying, right?
Yeah, absolutely terrifying. Yeah, it's Sigmar. This list is just unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, it's incredibly strong, and obviously for the uninitiated, they're using the Fire and Fade command ability to be able to deep strike and then move the Fulmies or the Stormdrake Guard. But
and you could keep both off the board, right? So because it's a 3-drop, so if you go into like a Stormcast Mirror, you could just keep both of your big power pieces off the board.
Yeah. And I mean, Blue Cyclone in the chat saying, interesting that he chose swords on the dragons and not lances. Yeah, I think he's building them to grind, and then his Fulminators are his punch unit. His Fulminators are his lance unit, if you know what I mean, because they've got the 3. Gavin is top dog, was at all the GW events. You'll see him at the Worlds. So he's
in the Team America. Okay, excellent.
So yeah, I think that encapsulates a little bit of what these new Stormcast units can do when you plug them into cities, and I expect to see him in that top 16 or whatever they skim off the top. I expect to see him because you can protect your key pieces against the alpha from an Iron Jaws or a 6 long strikes. And then you've got the output to just, punk. You can clear a Nurgle army. You can clear a swamp army.
Yeah.
So yeah, with
Also, a good thing. So Seb's asking a really great question in the chat. Because he's talking about Thunder Lizard. You've got to go. But they reduce damage by 1. So Fulminators are great because they're still doing damage too, right?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, does it have enough Thunder Lizard tech? Yeah, honestly, like I think if he rolls well on the dragon breath, those mortal wounds from the fulminators and the guard are enough. Um, because and then weight of shots, like crossbowmen, it's a lot of shots there. So you're just forcing your opponent to,
Makes
you know,
sense.
roll ones. Yeah, exactly. If or on your basties. Um, so that's order. So I'm going to be looking to see how Gavin does. Chaos. I don't know this player at all, but I've chosen it because he's made the most obnoxious version of a Great Unclean One in Legion of the First Prince. So this is William Warren. He's taken Beastmasters, who wants to keep his beasts alive, his monsters. So he's got a Great Unclean One with the Plague Flail and the massive Bile Sword. So he's built to fuck, basically.
Hmm.
He's got the aura for the 5-up ward, and then he's putting Fourfold Blade on the Nurglings, Rob. It was a meme. They didn't clear it up in the FAQ, and now he's going to do 10 mortal wounds every time that mother swings.
I mean, that's their fault. Like, that's their fault.
Flaming Weapon, so the Bile Sword's going to be damage 5. He's got his monstrous reaction to do the mortals. He's just going to have a great time. That Great Unclean One is
fighting
very
all day. Yeah.
Then an Insensate Rage with reroll saves. Kairos, who's also got his spell portal. A Demon Prince. A Blood Master just is to fill out the Warlord, I believe. And then 3 units of Flesh Hounds. Spell portal, Life Swarm, Burning Head. Yeah, it's
it's a different way of running Legion of the First Prince, though, right? Like, we normally see much more control deck versions than we see damage versions.
Yes, yeah. And I was writing some lists just last night, and I settled somewhere around where he settled, to be honest with you. So yeah, it's super fragile. He's very much relying on getting those 10s for the summoning. He's going to need the summoning to compete on the primary. But like, oh boy, that's a lot of fun. You know, you're rolling. Look at that in that list. You've got an Insensate Rage, so you're rolling to get the booms off. You know, and you've got Kairos to rig a boom. You've got the Fourfold Blade, and you're going in and trying to spike on a load of mortals there. The Great Unclean One's incredibly survivable. He hasn't got the screens to screen out, your dragons or whatever, or your Maw Crushers, but he's just like, I don't care. I'm just going to fight. He's got Fight on Death, so, it'll trade really well. But yeah, there's no Be'lakor, big room. You're right. There's no Be'lakor there, which again is a bit of a gangster pick. He's like, I don't want to control you. I'm just going to blow you up. So yeah, that's a cool list.
It's played in America, but never mind.
And then Death, I've chosen a Nighthaunt list. I'm not sure if you've got that one on the screen. I have,
so on the screen, Nate Trentinelli from the tough crowd.
Yeah, which I think must be Anthony's brother. It is. Anthony, So this is what a lot of people jumped on when they heard that Nagash could go into Nighthaunt. So I just thought I'd pick this up. I'll pick this out as one that, I'd like to see how it goes. And, all of my lists tend to be chosen because there are new things that we haven't seen yet. We haven't seen Nagash in Nighthaunt. People talking about his spell where he can reroll all his hits and wounds on the big D6 Ren 3. He hasn't got loads of Hex Wraiths, so I'm not sure how the tournament's ruled it, but I don't think that they're allowing the Hex Wraith wound pass off for Nagash. But he's given it like 9 Spirit Hosts is a really, really good anvil. Like you can set up, it's fast. And he's got Spell Portal, which if you don't take Spell Portal when you run Nagash, then you're mad. So yeah, 3 units of Chain Rasps, 5 Hex Wraiths, a big brick of Spirit Hosts, and then Nagash. So let's see what you can do in Nighthaunt.
Yes, let's go, Nate Trentinelli. Okay, let's go. Good work. And then Destruction. Oh, Joseph Hawkins. Oh no, Craig Bro. Fucking Craig Bro's in the chat.
Come on, he's a man of taste. Joseph Hawkins. I mean, he hasn't chosen
Crack
Mount
bro.
for all of his boulder head monsters, which he needs. And I don't know what the Firebelly's doing, but he's got Kragnos and he's got 2 Frostlords on Stonehorn, so he's gonna just roll 3d6 charges and try and blow up the world. And you know, we love a Crag bro, don't we, Rob?
We love a Crag bro. I mean, like the 2 Frostlords and Stonehorn, and like, I mean, it's a meme. Like the Crag bro, yeah, Crag bro's in the chat. We definitely need it. We need an emote for Crag bro. But like, it's a meme. But maybe Joseph Hawkins is about to have the greatest run in Age of Sigmar history. Maybe he's about to mortal wound off the world, and we're going to be live streaming a Skype call Sunday night, and we're going to be like, "What the fuck is happening?" Yeah. What the, like, there's the chance. And honestly, just for the fact that Joseph Hawkins is playing for the chance he's a hero. He's a hero.
He's won already. He's
Yeah.
fucking won already. I mean, what a, right? 3 units of 2 Frost Sabers, a Hunter, a Firebelly, 2 Frostlords, Kragnos. It's just like, boom. Probably just turns up with a bowling ball bag and just plops it on the table and inserts it in. Right, I better run, Rob.
Owen, it was a pleasure doing this with you. Thank you.
Well, thanks for the opportunity. I've learned a lot about the meta. So I win, you win, the audience hopefully wins. And we're going to see who will win LVO, right?
Owen, I have a request very quickly before you go.
Go on.
Can you tweet out a picture of this dinner that we're gonna all miss in, because we're all gonna want to see a pic?
All right, deal. Yeah. I'll get extra just for you guys, okay?
Get extra as fuck. Okay, good, perfect. Thanks to Owen. Can we get some Owen emotes in the chat? My love to your family and your brother. Yeah, good luck with the competition. See you soon, Owen.
Big love to the Honest Wargamer family. See you soon, yo.
Bye, Owen.